Let's do another short trick series in vector itself, in which we will use triangle law. So in triangle law, we know that suppose the three sides of a triangle represents three vectors. So you have to look at the head of those three vectors. Suppose the head of those three vectors are like this. Suppose these are the heads of three vectors. Now identify which vector is in same order and which vector is in opposite order. So suppose, let's say this is A vector, this is B vector, and this is C vector. So we know that if on the head of first there is tail of second, so over here on the head of A there is tail of B. So A vector and B vector are in same order, are in same order. A vector and B vector are in same order. And we also know that when the heads are coinciding, then they are in opposite order. So for C and B, the heads are coinciding, so they are in opposite order. So we can say C is in opposite order to both A and B, because for C and A, the tails are coinciding, so they are also in opposite order. So C vector and B vector are in opposite order. They are in opposite order, and C vector and A vector are in opposite order. So according to triangle law, the same order vectors are added. So we can say A vector plus B vector, they are added. And the opposite order vector is the resultant. So A vector plus B vector is equal to resultant, so which is C vector. A vector plus B vector is equal to C vector. So this is the relation between A, B and C. So we can call it relation between A vector, B vector and C vector. So A plus B is equal to C. Now how to use this in solving a question? How to use this triangle law in solving a question? So this is a vector topic. Now let's solve one question in which two triangles will be visible. So as you can see, I have drawn one big triangle, then I have drawn another line. So now these two triangles are visible. Let's put arrow. So these are the arrows. So now you can observe there are three vectors. Let's name these vectors A vector, B vector and C vector. They have the common tail over here. And the heads are here. This is the head of A vector. Suppose this point is P. The head of B vector, suppose this point is Q. And the head of C vector, suppose the point is R. And in the question, they have given the Q is the midpoint. Q is the midpoint of PR. Q is the midpoint of PR. So that means length PQ is equal to length QR. Length PQ is equal to length QR. The length of PQ is equal to length of QR. And the question is asking what is the relation between A vector, B vector and C vector. Relation between A vector, B vector and C vector. What is the relation between A vector, B vector and C vector? That means you have to say like this: A plus B is equal to C, or B plus C is equal to A, or A plus B is equal to 2 times of C, or B plus C is equal to 2 times of A, something like that. You have to find out what is the relation between these three vectors, A vector, B vector and C vector. Now one thing you will notice that they are not forming a triangle. A vector, B vector, C vector are not three sides of a same triangle. A vector and B vector are the two sides of this triangle. Let's suppose this point is O. So for OPQ, A vector and B vector are the two sides, and third side is PQ, which is not a vector. And for OQR also, OB and OC are the two sides of triangle OQR, but QR is not a vector. So B and C are two sides, they are vectors. So how to solve this type of question? So we can assume something which is not given in question. So we can assume that. So this is the short trick here. How to use triangle law? How to use triangle law to find relation between A, B and C when they are not forming three sides of a triangle. So A vector, B vector and C vector are not forming a triangle, but still we can use triangle law. But still we can use triangle law. We can use triangle law. Still they are not forming three sides of a triangle. We can use triangle law. How to use that triangle law? So we know that P and Q are the points and this is a line segment. So we can assume this vector as PQ vector and we can put another arrow here. So this is QR vector. So we know that the vector has a tail Q and head at R, and for this vector the tail is at P and the head is at Q. Now you observe PQ and QR, they have same direction, and they have same magnitude. They have same magnitude because Q is the midpoint of PR. So PQ vector is equal to QR vector. PQ vector is equal to QR vector. Now we will write PQ vector in terms of A and B. So first we will find relation between PQ vector, A vector and B vector. So for that we will use triangle law. So use the triangle law. So now you can observe A vector and PQ vector are in same order. A vector and PQ vector are in same order. So we have A vector plus PQ vector and B vector is in opposite order. So we will write this as equal to B vector. So we have PQ vector is equal to B vector minus A vector. And similarly OQR. So for OQR, so for triangle OQR, we have OQ vector which is B vector and QR vector in same order and C vector is in opposite order. So we will write B vector plus QR vector is equal to C vector. The same order vectors are added and the opposite order vector is the resultant. So QR vector is equal to C vector minus B vector. Now we will substitute PQ vector here and QR vector over here. Using this, so we have PQ vector as B minus A and QR vector as C minus B. So we will substitute b vector minus a vector is equal to c vector minus b vector. Now take minus b vector on the left side. So this will become b vector plus b vector and minus a vector on the right side. So this will become a vector plus c vector. So that will be 2b vector is equal to a vector plus c vector, and this is the answer. This question is solved using triangle law.